This is Part 2, Episode 4. A gigantic scarlet demonic beast, whose entire body seemed to be doused in blood, charged frantically towards Lindong with earth-shaking footsteps that were accompanied by a barbaric aura. Under such a powerful charge, the vast land started to tremble. As the gigantic demonic beast moved closer, Lindong could clearly see its appearance. The demonic beast looked like an enormous devil scorpion, and its entire body was covered with a layer of scarlet armor that appeared to be extremely sturdy. Furthermore, the air seemed to be torn apart when it brandished its two metallic pincers through the air. There was also a faint foul smell coming from its pincers that were extremely toxic. Earth Devil Scorpion. As he gazed upon this powerful demonic beast, a tinge of awe flashed across Lindong's eyes. Apparently, he had identified the origin of this demonic beast. Even though this monster was not an ancient type species, it was still stronger than any other ordinary demonic beasts. Most importantly, this monster was only one step away from reaching Nirvana stage. Once it broke through and reached Nirvana stage, it could develop high spirit intelligence, and it might even break free from its demonic form if chance permitted so. The Earth Devil Scorpion's body was overflowing with a bloody aura, and a thick blood stench was spreading from its body. Its pair of scarlet eyes was filled with ruthlessness and cruelty. As it brandished its metallic pincers, blood-red gales ripped out and easily tore apart those unlucky demonic beasts that were in its way, creating a rain of blood throughout the sky while displaying terror and might. At this moment, Lindong stopped in his tracks. Holding the heavenly crocodile bone spear in his hand, Lindong stared tightly at the incoming Earth Devil Scorpion, which was accompanied by a terrifying and suppressing aura. This was the first time he had came across such a powerful demonic beast. As compared to the Earth Devil Scorpion, the ancient dragon ape that he encountered in the Great Desolate Province was so much weaker. The peak manifestation stage was only one step away from the Nirvana stage. If it could take that final step, it would change completely and become extremely powerful. Boom! As Lindong braced his spear, the Earth Devil Scorpion was already charging towards him. A brandishing pair of mountain-snapping metallic pincers was slicing at Lindong's body's midsection. If Lindong was directly hit by such a powerful attack, he would definitely get hurt. Ding! Facing the Earth Devil Scorpion, which was equivalent to a peak manifestation stage, Lindong definitely would not let his guard down. Immediately, his feet activated Supreme Purity Sky Wanderer steps and his body became a wisp of green smoke and dodged the Devil Scorpion's metallic pincers. Then, with a jolt of his bone spear, Lindong shot out a spear shadow which was thrusted towards the pair of metallic pincers with a lightning-like speed. As the spear and the pair of pincers made contact, a loud and crisp sound erupted and sparks were flying in all directions. A visible energy diffused and crushed numerous demonic beasts in the surroundings to death. Under such a powerful collision, Lindong was driven back several steps. The Earth Devil Scorpion's strength was not only at the level of peak manifestation stage, but it might even be higher than that. Under the collision, even Lindong, who took pride in his strong and sturdy physical body, showed signs of being in a disadvantageous position. Ha ha! It is worthy of being a peak manifestation stage demonic beast. Despite being in a disadvantageous position, Lindong's eyes blazed with fervor. As he took a step forward, the Yuan power in his body began to boil. At this moment, the Yuan power in his body was extremely vigorous and wanted to make use of this epic battle to achieve a breakthrough. Lindong's figure flew out like an artillery shell. Stepping on nothing but air, and with a profound stance, he brandished his heavenly crocodile bone spear and created a sky full of spear shadows, which then poured down in torrents on the Earth Devil Scorpion. At this moment, amongst the demonic horde, this area of fighting had become the focal point of everyone's eyes. When they saw Lindong being driven back by the Earth Devil Scorpion's attack, they could not help but shook their heads. A peak manifestation stage demonic beast was indeed something that he could not withstand. Humph, what a reckless trash. How can he think about defeating a peak manifestation stage demonic beast? Xia Huang sneered while standing on the stone tower and watching this scene unfold. It doesn't matter if he dies. Most importantly, we cannot let the earthly soul treasure be destroyed. Later, when he and the demonic beast are tired out, I will take actions and kill the demonic beast. Then, I will obtain the demonic crystal and conveniently take his bone spear as well, the man in the green robes said indifferently. Ha ha, it appears that Senior Lee wants to be the fisherman in this fight. However, if that's the case, those country bumpkins from the Great Yang Empire may not be able to take it. Xie Huang smiled after he heard the green-robed man's words. They can't take it. Then, we will kill them. It is a disgrace for an ant-like empire like them to come here. The green-robed man played with his thumb and said plainly in a tone that was filled with contempt. While they were talking, the area of fighting in the demonic horde was getting more and more intense. The Yuan power in Lin Dong's body was whistling. With a powerful physical endurance, Lin Dong did not collapse like what other people had expected him to do so. As the torrents of spear shadows landed on the body of the Earth Devil Scorpion, massive sparks erupted. The body armor of the Earth Devil Scorpion was strong enough to defend it from a peak manifestation stage elite's attacks. However, Lin Dong's heavenly crocodile bone spear was far too sharp. As the spear shadows hit its target, numerous spear scars appeared on the armor of the Devil Scorpion. Roar! Due to the pains inflicted on its entire body, the Earth Devil Scorpion bellowed angrily. It then opened its mouth fiercely and shot out a foul-smelling, blood-colored energy towards Lin Dong. 9 Destruction Purple Shadow. Facing an all-out retaliation from the Earth Devil Scorpion, Lin Dong's feet stepped into a rhythm and 9 savaged shadows appeared behind him in a lightning speed. Then, with a glint in his eyes, the heavenly crocodile bone spear shot out from his hand. As the bone spear shot out, it created a ripple in the airspace. Currently, Lin Dong had mastered the skill of 9 Destruction Purple Shadow to the point of perfection. Not only could it be applied on boxing technique, but it also could be applied on spear technique. The bone spear was shrouded in majestic Yuan power, and when it collided fearlessly with the blood-colored energy, a gust of sharp wind swept up and ripped apart the blood-colored energy. Great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger, first finger imprisoning the world. As the blood-colored energy was ripped apart, an ancient giant finger materialized in the sky. Accompanied by intense pressure, the ancient finger came down from the sky with a lightning speed and blasted ruthlessly on the body of the Earth Devil Scorpion. Bang! This attack was especially vicious. Even the enormous body of the Earth Devil Scorpion was driven back several feet. The gales that accompanied the attack exploded several unlucky demonic beasts. Manifestation Martial Arts. Lin Dong's attacks had caused commotions on the city wall. Such a surprising lad. I am afraid this manifestation martial art of his is a mid-grade manifestation martial art. It's shocking to see someone from a small empire possessing such powerful earthly soul treasure and manifestation martial art. The green-robed man startled and then said interestingly. Mid-grade manifestation martial art. After hearing these words, a greedy look flashed across Xie Huang's eyes. He then whispered, Hey, Senior Lee. Even though you possess such grade of manifestation martial art as well, but if you can have one more kind of such manifestation martial art, your fighting capabilities can increase another level. We cannot let this lad off. Anything I have my eyes on naturally belongs to me, the green-robed man smiled plainly. In his tone, it appeared that the heavenly crocodile bone spear and great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger had already become his belongings. As he was talking, his eyes squinted at the area of fighting in the demonic horde. Not only was there a slight surprise in his eyes, but there was an obvious sneer on his face as well. That demonic beast seems to show signs of exhaustion. This lad appears to be quite capable. However, a filth from a small empire like him has no rights to enjoy a demonic crystal of such grade. Bang! In the demonic horde, the Earth Devil Scorpion had gradually stabilized himself after being knocked back by Lin Dong. In front of it, there was a long and deep trench mark. Furthermore, a few cracks had opened up on the extremely hard armor that covered the area where its brain was located at. Obviously, these injuries were inflicted by Lin Dong's vicious ancient finger. After being injured by Lin Dong till such extent, the Earth Devil Scorpion was extremely furious. Its eyes were flickering with malevolence and ruthlessness, as if it wanted to crush Lin Dong with its bite. However, Lin Dong did not fluster at the sight of the scarlet and angry glints in the monster's eyes. He then became a wisp of green smoke while the yuan power in his body boiled to a point that it was burning. This was a sign of his breakthrough. He desperately needed the demonic crystal of this peak manifestation stage demonic beast to complete the last step, and successfully broke through the advanced manifestation stage. Prepare to die. Lin Dong's body appeared on top of the Earth Devil Scorpion. With a jolt of his mind, surging mental energy gathered at the bone spear, and became a world around the spear like a whirlpool. A violent suction power then began to spread. With a jerk of the spear pierced with a lightning speed towards the direction of the Earth Devil Scorpion's brain, accompanied by deafening whizzing sound. If the spear was able to strike its target, raging mental energy would enter the Earth Devil Scorpion's body and crushed its spirit intelligence. However, just as Lin Dong's bone spear was about to strike the Earth Devil Scorpion's wound, an extremely powerful gust of wind swept up behind him. A cold voice then rang upon his ears. So you are Lin Dong, right? This time around, you have contributed greatly in the defense of the city, and I will reward you for that. However, I will be in charge of dealing with this demonic beast now. Upon hearing this cold voice, Lin Dong's eyes were surging with ghastliness. When he sensed the rapidly incoming vicious yuan power shockwave behind him, Lin Dong's eyes glimmered. However, he showed no signs of turning around. The shockwave behind him was indeed extremely formidable, so much so that it was even more powerful than Lin Langtian, Mo Ling and the rest. Evidently, the person who attacked must be the peak manifestation practitioner from the Saint Light Empire. When he realized who had attacked, a vicious glint surfaced Lin Dong's eyes. Right now, the killing intent in his heart had reached its boiling point. Not only were these scumbags from the Saint Light Empire extremely overbearing, they even dared to attack him and snatch his demonic crystal. Their despicable actions were simply too outrageous. Given on Lin Dong's character, if someone wanted to snatch the peak manifestation demonic crystal away from him, let alone a peak manifestation stage practitioner, even if it were a nirvana stage practitioner, Lin Dong would make him pay. However, before that, he must first obtain this Earth Devil Scorpion's demonic crystal. This thought flashed across Lin Dong's mind. However, the bone spear in his hand did not slow down. Instead, it moved thrust forward at an extremely rapid speed before it viciously stabbed at that Earth Devil Scorpion's wound. Kid, how dare you? Lin Dong's actions were immediately discovered by the one who had attacked behind him. Immediately, he shouted out in rage. A potent yuan power erupted within his palm, before he viciously slammed his palm at Lin Dong's back. From the power of the blow, it was evident that he did not plan to spare Lin Dong. Humph! When he sensed the increasingly ferocious palm wind behind him, Lin Dong's mind moved as a surge of mental energy gushed forth from his Niwen palace. Instantly, it transformed into a large skull behind his back as a piercing mental energy sonic boom erupted, causing all the surrounding demonic beasts that were leaping towards him to be instantly blown apart by this mental energy sonic boom. A figure swiftly appeared behind Lin Dong's back. He was dressed in green robes, and was indeed the peak manifestation practitioner from the Saint Light Empire. When he saw that Lin Dong actually dared to resist and totally ignored his shouts, his face turned increasingly dark. Over this period of time, he naturally thought that no one in this area dared to challenge his authority. However, he never expected Lin Dong to actually ignore him. This was something that he could not accept. Overestimating yourself. The green-robed man's expression darkened. As he twirled his palm, a wave of extremely formidable yuan power smashed into the mental energy skull like a whirlwind. With a single palm strike, he directly blew apart the skull. Nonetheless, although this man was extremely arrogant, he was indeed quite powerful. Though the peak manifestation stage was only one step up from the advanced manifestation stage, the difference between them was extremely huge. Of course, Lin Dong naturally did not expect that just this bit of mental energy alone would be able to stop that man. All he needed was to delay the latter for a moment. Hence, when this elite practitioner from Saint Light Empire, who was addressed as Senior Li, blew apart the skull, Lin Dong's heavenly crocodile bone spear carried a mental energy storm, as it neatly pierced the crack on the Earth Devil Scorpion's shell. An extremely sharp shockwave rushed out from the tip of the bone spear, as the solid shell immediately burst apart. Fresh blood spurted out, as the bone spear penetrated through it. This sudden deadly attack immediately caused the Earth Devil Scorpion to rage manically. Its large body continuously struggled, while it manically swung its two pincers, causing energy shockwaves that had enough power to blow apart a manifestation stage practitioner. Bang! Lin Dong's eyes were cold with a thought. The mental energy at the tip of his spear erupted, and instantly wiped off all traces of thought and life from the Earth Devil Scorpion. Though this demonic beast's physical body was extremely powerful, it had yet to refine a demonic spirit. Thus, its mental energy defenses were fairly weak. In the face of Lin Dong's formidable mental energy, the Earth Devil Scorpion did not show much resistance, and it immediately died. The Earth Devil Scorpion's body immediately stiffened, while an aura of death slowly emerged from it. When he saw the Earth Devil Scorpion die, Lin Dong quickly jerked his bone spear, directly blowing apart the Earth Devil Scorpion's brain. Instantly, fresh blood and brain juice spurted out. A suction force flew out from his palm, as a palm-sized blood-red demonic crystal emerged from within the fresh blood and landed in his palm. When the demonic crystal landed in his hands, Lin Dong immediately felt a burning sensation spread out from within his palm. At the same time, waves of potent nirvana chi emerged from within. Compared to an ordinary demonic crystal, it at least a dozen times more potent. When the demonic crystal reached his palm, Lin Dong's foot pushed off the Earth Devil Scorpion's corpse as his body flew up. He stared at that green-robed man behind him with a cold and venomous expression, while killing intent flowed in his heart. Growl. When the Earth Devil Scorpion's corpse landed on the ground, the demonic horde seemed to have lost their leader as they howled at the sky, before quickly retreating like a tidal wave. In a mere 10 seconds, the blood-red wave of demonic beasts that had completely filled one's entire vision disappeared into the night. On the city wall, after experiencing the fearsome and massive battle, when the crowds saw the wave of demonic beasts retreat, they involuntarily heaved a sigh of relief. However, their attention immediately turned towards the two men that were facing off in mid-air outside of the city. It's Li Xing from the Saint Light Empire. It seems like he intends to snatch the peak manifestation demonic beast's crystal. That kid from Great Yang Empire is truly unfortunate. Li Xing is only one step away from the Nirvana stage. Even though that kid had previously killed a peak manifestation demonic beast, it was after all a demonic beast and not a person. The Saint Light Empire is simply too overbearing. After someone else painstakingly killed that peak manifestation demonic beast, he actually wants to snatch the demonic crystal. Shush, who dares to criticize the Saint Light Empire in this place? You remember what happened to the people who offended them? Those scoundrels. Atop the city wall, when the crowd stared at the scene in mid-air, a series of soft whispers erupted. At one corner of the city wall, Mo Ling, Du Yu and Man Shan's expression changed when they witnessed this sight. Promptly, rage surfaced on their faces. Those Saint Light Empire members were simply too overbearing. In mid-air, the green-robed man known as Li Xing wore an icy expression as he stared at Lin Dong. He slowly stretched out his palm and casually said, "Hand over the demonic crystal, bone spear and manifestation martial art. I will guarantee your safety in the ancient battlefield." When he heard these words, a sneer involuntarily flashed across Lin Dong's face. Not only did that fellow want his demonic crystal, he even wanted his heavenly crocodile bone spear, as well as the great desolate imprisoning heavenly finger. Lin Dong stared at Li Xing. Moments later, he slowly stretched out his hand. A fiery red, demonic crystal sat quietly on his palm, while a rich nirvana chi slowly spread out, causing the desire in Li Xing's eyes to intensify. "You are a wise one." Lin Dong's actions evidently pleased Li Xing. However, just as he was about to take the demonic crystal, a mocking look flashed across Lin Dong's face. Promptly, he closed his hand, directly crushing the demonic crystal, as a devouring force gushed out and swallowed all the nirvana chi into his body. "Who do you think you are?" Ensure my safety in the ancient battlefield. Based on your current strength, you can't even save yourself, yet you still want to save others. After Lin Dong devoured the demonic crystal, he sneered as he said. This sight was so sudden that Li Xing had no time to react. Hence, he was stunned for a moment, and he only regained his senses when he heard Lin Dong's mocking words. Immediately, his handsome face looked just like a pig's liver, while an unconcealable rage flowed in his eyes. Evidently, he had never expected that Lin Dong actually dared to fool him. On the city wall, everyone was silent as they witnessed this scene. Even though many of them were extremely outraged over Li Xing's actions, none of them dared to act like Lin Dong and actually challenge him in public. After all, he was the most powerful person around. All right, you peasant. This time around, even if you kneel down and offer me your soul treasure and martial arts, I will make you beg for your own death. Li Xing was so outraged that his body began to tremble. He stared viciously at Lin Dong, his voice filled with an unconcealable savage killing intent. And cold light flowed in Lin Dong's eyes. He suddenly took a step forward as streams of savage Yuan power manically gushed out from his body. As his Yuan power gushed forth, his aura began to surge steadily until eventually, he finally broke through the final obstacle and reached the advanced manifestation stage. After brewing over this period of time, plus the nirvana chi inside the previous demonic crystal, the current Lin Dong had officially broken through to the advanced manifestation stage. His strength had surged once again. Lin Dong's aura wildly surged around his body, while his icy cold roar rumbled across the horizon like thunder. Your Saint Light Empire has been bossing us around these past few days. Do you really believe that you are the overlords of this region? In that case, I shall make you wake up to reality today. You actually dare to call yourselves overlords with just this strength? You must be dreaming. On the city wall, many people were dumbstruck when they heard Lin Dong's roar. Once these words were out, there was no longer any way to peacefully resolve this matter. This video will end here.